welcome to this edition of Stream On. I'm Jim Williams, your host, and today we have one of our most interesting guests that we've had in quite a while, and it's Elie Ben-David. Now, Elie Ben-David is a series creator and star of the new Acorn TV program called the Attaché. Now, the Attaché is a story, in many ways, about a fish out of water in Paris. While experiencing a change in his own identity and a midlife crisis while in love with his wife. Now, the main character, Avshalom, loves his wife, who wants to go back to her home in Paris, and he reluctantly agrees. But through gritted teeth, as he feels lost in this massive city, envious of his wife's new position as an attaché, the action of this particular series surrounds the events of 2015, his Israeli roots, the security of Paris attacks, and all that was brought home to him in a very emotional way. Now, it also is a love story. A love story about Elie Ben-David and his wife in the show. It's a very unique, it's a very entertaining show. It is one that you're going to use subtitles unless you speak French and Hebrew pretty well. I don't, so subtitles for me. But I will say this, it's a very interesting show, it's a very compelling show, and it's a very amazingly well put together show. It's been critically acclaimed throughout Europe, and now on the 22nd of March, it drops on Acorn, The Attaché, starring my guest, Elie Ben-David. Elie, my friend, you wrote it, you directed it, you starred in it. You have your fingers all over this. It's your story. From that standpoint, you got to be happy with what came out, because it really is good.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I'm thrilled to hear it, and it was very challenging, very, very challenging. I was let me tell you something. I didn't want to plan that, but I was forced by the broadcaster and my family in some way, and we all find out while we were casting this one that it might bring authentic and honest color to the project. So we decided that I will play as well. It was very, very challenging, very tough. Don't do it, by the way, if somebody asks you one day.
Don't have to worry about me. I'm not doing it. So go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? This is exactly what I said. Hey, I'm not worried. I am gonna do it, and finally I did. So be aware. Anyway, but it was very challenging, very emotional and private project for me, almost like semi-autobiographic project. So it was,
But, the interesting part to me, and there are many interesting parts, is that it's really a show about how an average, everyday person can get caught up in, the intrigue and worldly affairs that are going on right in our backyard.
Yeah, life, man. It's like that.
Right.
We have a backyard in each part of our life, in each neighborhood, in each state. Even now with this COVID-19, we're all going through relocation in some way. We all try to adjust ourselves to the new reality, and in some way, this is what's happening to Avshalom in the Attaché. So it's about changing. It's about how we manage with them, how we are afraid with them, how we are happy with them. It's like that. You know what? I have a little surprise for you. The actress of the Attaché, Héloïse Godet, is here with us. If you want to say hello.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, hi. How are you? You do an outstanding job. I was going to get to you in a couple of minutes, but now you're here.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
you know, you actually do a fantastic job of basically, you know, the fun thing to me anyway, from your character standpoint, is that you're basically, you love without questioning your husband. You want to do what's best, but at the same time, you're like, you know, I got a career here. I'd like to just, you know, I'd like to turn the spotlight on me, which is not a bad thing. And I think the way you played it made it look that way, that it was it was a loving thing, not a personal thing.
Yeah, I think that Avshalom in the story is allowing her to switch the way their own family was functioning. Like he is like a little bit patronizing her at the start, saying, "This is your year. I'm offering you this year. You need it. Okay, it's your dream job." But then he realizes that she's perfectly fine with that. Like she's taking her moment and she's going back to her roots. And this is his moment to adapt himself to this new reality.
You know, when you are describing, I'm coming from a place that's full of conflict in Israel, and you know, when I was started to dig about this project and the character, like those two main characters, I immediately found the conflict between them, like. Each one of them have an inner conflict, and love and I would say love and hate is the line that separated between them. It's very, very fragile. So it's interesting in some way. We always feel so much anger about people that we love. So it's like that. It's tango.
And he's following her because he loves her. He is afraid to lose her in some way, but the most he's running after her, the most he's losing himself.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the amazing things, and I had the pleasure of working, you know, in Paris, and it is an amazing city, and it's kind of a seductive city in many ways, right? It's beautiful. It's everything you possibly want. I have I'm Jewish, and it has an incredibly vibrant Jewish community, but as you put in the particular, you know, in the show, it's a situation where that's a good thing. And in the case of the 2015 attacks, it's also a bad thing.
Well, I think I was very careful not to bring this POV of like political whatever. I think that Avshalom is more fish out of water as a person, as a human, more than as a Jew, if I may say. This was my point of view about that. It was like because what's happened in 2015 in Paris, I think it was crisis for the Parisian as much as to Avshalom in some way. And you know, I think I chose this threesome, him, her, and Paris. I put Paris as a character in my show. I chose a long shot to see him small, surrounded by this beautiful, dark city. I chose to put Paris in this dark way because when I just moved to Paris, for me, Paris was the same time beautiful and the same. But in the same time, it's very frightening and unbalanced, solid ground. So it was very interesting. Again, this was the conflict of Paris as a character, the main character of the. Like he wants her, she wants the city, and it was this circle between them. It's nice. It's like a threesome, in some way.
It's a loving tug of war between you, your wives, and Paris, but. You did a wonderful job of making Paris a true character in this film, because it really is. I mean, you know, you get to places, I'll be honest, you get to places in Paris that most people who travel there never see.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I chose for me, I chose a lot of scenes by the sand, by the river.
Uh-huh.
Because for me, as an Israeli, I grew up by the sea. And for me, it was like Elie, for me, it was very, very important place. I wrote a lot of scenes down the river because it reminds me the sea back home.
Right.
So I was feeling so touched by the water, by the lights. It was it was very emotional for me to shoot it, at least down there. So I was sure that I'm gonna shoot a lot of days exteriors in Paris to bring this city, this beautiful city that will surround and cover this character. It was very important to me. It was thematically important.
Well, as well, to carry through on this being a story that hits very home for you. Your wife is also French, correct?
Yeah, my wife, she's an Israeli, which moved to France while she was 3 months with her parents, and she stayed in Paris and in Belgium for 20 years.
Right.
So when she just moved back, I realized that she's at her own ground,
Right.
She have the language, she have a friend, she have a family. She's back home. And her home in those days was, I would say, a bit of nightmare for me in some way, because I didn't manage to carry this, It's a manhood, it's a fatherhood crisis. It's, it was a very challenging period for me.
Well, the thing, too, about the show is that that there's the one strand that holds it together is the relationship, the love between you and your wife in the program. It's the one thing that while all hell is breaking loose, that is the constant. So it's actually even a love story.
Yeah. I love how you analyze it, because I was talking to so much journalists, and I was saying, hey guys, this is a small little love story between him and her. This is love story that have a lot of layers about, in some way, political layers and identity layers and culture gaps layers. But at the end, at the base of it, this is a love story. Right. The song of Jacques Brel, Ne me quitte pas, don't leave me. Just don't leave me.
Right,
This was the base of it. This was the base. He loved her. She wanted to go there. As much as he's running after her, he's losing himself in some way, but he's willing to do it because this is a great conflict. I think we all have it in some point in our life. Like, okay, we want to choose something, but we know it's going to make us, it's going to cause some sorrow in some way, or pain, or struggling process. So, but this is a love story. This is a love declaration in some way.
Yeah. And I think it's relatable to a lot of couples, myself and my wife included, where each one of us at one point in time decided, okay, well, I don't particularly want to go there, but, you did this for me. You moved here for me, so I'll move there for you. So it is a give and a take, and it's relatable in that regard, because so many couples, actually do that. They'll transplant from one city to the next, from one country to the next, because it's the wife did it for the husband, or the husband did it for the wife. So it's a replica. It's just like, okay, you sacrifice for me, and let me see what I can do to sacrifice for you.
Yeah, but it's always like this sacrifice, like giving up. It's always a question of for how much you're going to do it, or
right.
how much you're going to sacrifice yourself and how much you're going to be unbalanced by that.
Right. Or how much of yourself you're going to lose. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, but yeah, the glue, like what catch them is that they still care for one each other. They still love one each other.
Right.
And it's bring conflict, and conflict is a story, And when you have like crystal bright conflict, this was like, okay, I said, okay, there is some story here because this is too clear conflict.
Right.
And let's try to
100%.
play with that, yeah.
100%. And, what drives the show is conflict. And it's, as we said, it's a love story, it's conflict. It's also a bit of action adventure. It's a little bit of everything in that regard. So what do you one of the great things about Acorn and streaming services here is that we may not in this country have gotten to see this show. And it's going to drop on March 22nd. And we're all excited to see. We might not have seen it. And now the world has come much closer together because of streaming services like Acorn. As a producer, director, writer, now you have the world to get to. You don't have necessarily to worry just about how does it go over? Where in Israel, in this case, and by the way, it went over tremendously. The critics loved it, and the critics, internationally like it. So we're all excited to see it.
I never imagined that My Little Story will become will make this travel all around. I was about to tell My Little Story. I was hope that it's gonna do something, and it's gonna tell. But it happened they really like it here in Europe. I'm very curious about how you guys in the States gonna take it, but the critics here in Europe and in South America was great, and we were both, me and Héloïse, very happy that people understood what we tried to tell, and I'm very curious to see, and as a filmmaker, this this period about streaming service, this is great. It's it brings our story directly and rapidly to a lot of spaces. So it's great.
All right. Well, look, in closing, what do you hope that the people who watch the show get out of the Attaché?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I hope they're gonna find themselves in some way inside, because there is this. There is a lot of issues. That's very simple one, and as you said, this is a love story and about giving to your partners and how to struggle with the fears that you have, with changing, with adapting to another situation in life. I don't know. I hope that they find honesty and authentic senses that I try to bring to this show. This is a very humble show, from my point of view. I didn't try to make it like big one or show off with action scenes or whatever. I chose to go to between him and her and little problems in life. And it's a small one and honest one, I hope.
Special thanks to our guest Elie Ben-David, the series creator and star of the Acorn TV's original The Attaché, which premieres on Acorn March 22nd. You got to check it out. All the information on the program is in the show box below. We'll be back with more right after this from BMW.
At BMW, we know leaving the road wasn't easy, but anticipating our return taught us to appreciate every drive. The exhilaration of the ultimate adventure. Moments spent with your favorite co-pilots. and the freedom to explore just because. Our time to rejoin the road is finally here.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this edition of Stream On. Now, if you're not one of the over 60,000 people who have taken the time to join our little worldwide community, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, we make it simple. All you have to do is go to the Apple Podcast Store. You can find us at Google Play. You can find us at Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and TuneIn Radio, to name a few. Now, if you have an assistant device, and we have many of them, whether it's Google, Alexa, or any of the outstanding assistant devices, all you have to do is please ask them to play the latest edition of Stream On with Jim Williams. They'll do it. And you'll be able to sit back and just enjoy and listen to the program. Okay? Now, for some reason, you still can't find us. Pull out the old Google machine, type in Stream On with Jim Williams, hit the favorite button or the subscribe button, and each week you'll get a brand new edition of the podcast sent directly to your phone, to your tablet, or to both. Okay? So please go out there. And oh, by the way, if you happen to go to Apple Music or YouTube, smash the like button. Tell people how much you enjoy the show. That would be greatly appreciated. All right? Okie doke. All right. So, what's coming up this weekend? Well, this weekend is all about the madness. Last year, there was no March Madness. This year, it's going to be very condensed and going to be very intense, and it begins, on Friday and goes on through the next couple weeks. It's that time of year when, whether you are someone who's a basketball fan or just a fan of your university or just are in an office pool, that you're going to want to watch it. Now, it's on CBS and some of the games are on Turner and their family of networks, which of course is TNT, TBS, and True TV. So, what happens if you want to stream it? Well, okay, there's some options. If you have a cable subscription, then you can download the March Madness app from the NCAA or from the channel store. You can download your TNT, your TBS apps in True TV, and you can get it that way. Or, if you are not a cable subscriber, my suggestion is twofold. One, you go out and go to locast.org, check the location, see if you can get your local TV stations there. They have a free trial, and then it's $5 a month in the way of a donation. Definitely worth it. I can tell you, I use it all the time. It's fantastic. So check out Locast. Again, for $5 a month, it is much better than trying to get your local channels through a number of different sources. So check out Locast. And also check out our friends at Sling, because they're doing a promotion. We talked about it last week on the podcast, where they're doing watch parties, and you can see every one of the both men's championship tournament in college basketball as well as the women's tournament too. Okay? So you can't beat those two. So if you're going to want to watch, and I know a lot of you will, the NCAA college basketball tournament, you can do it with the situation of having both the Sling situation, so you can try them out. You can try out also Locast, and highly recommend Paramount Plus, which of course has CBS locals on it. So you can do that one for free, just to try it out. And by the way, I subscribe to it, so you may very want to do that as well. So there's your options to cover March Madness from now until the end, which comes on April the 5th, Monday night. Okay, so that's what's going on sports-wise over the weekend. Suggestions of what to watch over the weekend. There's plenty. I would suggest, just saying, from a binge standpoint, that you could try out the CW Aerosphere, which is on Netflix. And if you're into the DC universe, then you'll know. It is The Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, and Batwoman, okay? It's something that's fun, it's mindless, and you can have a really cool time just following it. If you like action-adventure, by all means, give it a shot. It's definitely well worth your time, okay? So there's a couple ideas of what to do over the weekend, all right? Okay. Well, for all of us here at Stream On, I'm Jim Williams saying thanks for joining us. Thanks, of course, for Elie Ben-David, the series creator and star of Acorn TV's The Attaché, which debuts March 22nd right on Acorn TV. Highly recommend. All the information on that will be in the show box below. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 1 week's time. By all means, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep streaming.